If you have ever played Overwatch, you will likely have heard of the Omnic Crysis, but you may not know the events leading to it and ultimately the cause. Why are we talking about this? Well, the impending addition of PvE content and the likelihood that Omnic will be heavily featured, this is a great time for you to learn more. First, let's set the scene, as the world of Overwatch was very different pre-Omnic Crysis. In fact, most information we have from comics and origin stories will reference that it was post-omnic Crysis, stressing its significance on the world. This was a golden era for robotics and artificial intelligence, and the Omnica Corporation led the charge. One of the first secrets to the Omnica's success was the creation of so-called Omniums, which were self-improving, automated robotic facilities built around the world. Who seriously thought that was a good idea, when I can only assume they didn't have writers like Isaac Asimov in their world? And the second reason for their success was the appointment of Mina Liao as a researcher in the field of AI, although coincidentally this was likely the start of the end for the company. Mina's lifelong ambition was to create sentience among robots, and before long she did, with the creation of Aurora. This divided opinions on a global scale, and one of her biggest critics was in fact Torbjorn Lindholm. Mina was also responsible for the creation of Echo and Athena, which play a huge role in the coming events. It's fair to say that a golden era of AI had been achieved, but things went wrong very quickly when one of the AIs named Anubis went rogue. Anubis was able to control the Omniums, which had recently been closed down due to corporate greed and fraud, effectively giving them access to an unlimited supply of robots, which when combined with a so-called God program able to adapt to human countermeasures, spelled a disaster for the world. All nations struggled to defeat the Omnics, and no single Omnium was ever completely defeated under the rule of Anubis. Russia was an exception, able to defeat the Omnics by itself. The United Nations recognised that there were individual minds around the world having a profound impact, bringing them together to create the Overwatch program. Overwatch fought desperately, and even recruited Mina Liao to help understand the minds of the AI, despite Torbjorn's hesitation, ultimately leading her to reveal Anubis as the puppet master. After many years of fierce conflict, Overwatch were able to quarantine Anubis to an underground research facility beneath the Giza Plateau. However, when Overwatch were ultimately disbanded, its protection was outsourced to Helix Security. Anubis was once again able to escape, controlling the Omnic in the facility, with the aim to breach the firewalls and once again able to corrupt infrastructure on a global scale. Despite the initial failed attempt at securing the facility, a small squad led by Captain Khalil, Farah to you and I, was sent in to deal with the situation and was fortunately successful. This does indeed beg the question if the program will ever be contained, and it's only a matter of time before this happens again. Despite a treaty being signed between the humans and the now sentient Omnics, some still pose a threat. There are factions within the Omnic community that still resent humans and would like Omnics to have a better quality of life. One such example is Null Sector, being led solely by Ramatra. They currently control one of the Omniums and are the force behind the Paris attack, which prompted the reactivation of Overwatch. So to conclude, the Omnic Crysis definitely had a significant impact on the world as we know it, but perhaps AI in general. Omnic do still pose a significant threat to human society, and the Null Sector will play a huge part in what's to come, I'm sure. But what do you think? Will Null Sector win, or could we even see a complete 180 on AI, morphing into a world similar to Frank Herbert's Dune, where AI is outlawed?